You step inside a medieval castle expecting grandeur, but the first thing that hits you isn't awe, it's cold. Not the pleasant kind that wakes you up, but the kind that crawls into your bones and stays there. The stone walls around you feel less like architecture and more like a giant freezer designed by someone who actively hates comfort. Your breath hangs in the air, your teeth chatter, and this is just the Great Hall, the warmest room in the entire place. There's almost no light. The windows are tiny slits meant for archers, not sunshine. Candles flicker weakly, swallowed by draft after draft. Smoke rolls through the air, drifting from the fireplaces that barely work. Everything smells like wet stone, old animal fat, and smoke that never quite goes away. And the walls weep, literally. Moisture condenses and runs down the stone like the castle itself is alive and crying. Your clothes feel damp after 10 minutes. Mold blooms anywhere the sun can't reach, which is everywhere. It takes you about 5 steps to realize this isn't the magical fortress of fairy tales. It's a defensive machine, and you are inside the gears. And if you think the cold is bad, wait until you see how people actually lived in this place. You probably think living in a castle was a privilege, a medieval luxury reserved for the elite. But once inside, you realize this privilege feels more like a punishment. The truth is simple. Nobles didn't choose castles because they were comfortable. They chose them because everyone wanted to kill them. Castles were military fortresses first, homes second, and comfort came in a distant, wheezing third place. Everything around you, from the narrow rooms to the echoing halls, exists to repel invaders, not to accommodate daily life. Privacy doesn't exist. Rooms are pass-through corridors. Servants sleep everywhere. Guards stomp down hallways at all hours. Even the lord and lady of the castle couldn't escape the noise, the cold, and the constant presence of dozens of workers. Their private chambers were workplaces. Their meals were public. Their lives were observed by servants, soldiers, visitors, petitioners, all day, every day. You begin to understand why nobles spent as much time as possible in warm, cozy manor houses instead. A castle was where they went, only when they had to. And if that cracks your romantic notions, wait until you feel what daily life actually did to your body. You wake up in the castle after your first night and realize something terrible. You're colder than when you went to sleep. The hearth fire died hours ago, and the room is now a refrigerated tomb. Your blanket, wool, scratchy, barely thick, feels wet. That's not your imagination. Moisture condenses on the walls and saturates everything. You try to warm your hands near a torch, but that introduces a new problem. Smoke. Real medieval fire isn't pretty orange light. It's thick, choking, and oily. It fills your nose, coats your clothing, and stings your eyes until they water. You smell like a burnt sheep within an hour. When you sit down to eat or talk or simply exist, drafts whistle through arrow slits, door gaps, and cracks in the stone. Every gust steals warmth from your skin. Even the nobles wore layers upon layers, cloaks, furs, undergarments, not for fashion, but survival. The castle is a constant struggle between fire and cold, damp and smoke, comfort and misery. And if you think you can just tough it out with a warm bed, well, let's talk about what shares that bed with you. You lie down to sleep, exhausted, hoping for a moment of peace. Instead, your body becomes an all-you-can-eat buffet. Medieval castles didn't just host nobles and knights. They hosted fleas, lice, bedbugs, and an entire ecosystem of unwelcome guests. They lived in the straw, in the furs, in the seams of clothing, in the wooden bed frames, even in the cracks of the stone walls. You scratch your arm, then your legs, then your scalp. It's impossible to stop. Everyone itched all the time, from the lord in his fur cloak to the servant sleeping on the floor. Cleanliness wasn't hygiene, it was survival, and even then, you lost. The castle courtyard isn't much better. Dogs wander freely, chickens dart underfoot, pigs root around in scraps, rats run along the storeroom walls, fat from stolen grain. You hear them at night, chewing, scurrying, gnawing behind the wooden panels. And when you realize your bed, your clothes, your food, and your entire environment are basically a parasite festival, you start to wonder how people ever manage to eat. Well, let's discuss that next. Forget the endless banquets you've seen in movies. Most days in a castle, you eat like a tired soldier, not a pampered lord. Meals revolve around one thing: calories, bread, more bread, thick porridges, stews of uncertain age and questionable meats, salted fish so hard you need a knife just to break it open. Occasionally, yes, there were feasts, but only for guests, religious holidays, or major political events. 90% of the time, castle food was repetitive, bland, and often borderline spoiled. Spices weren't about taste, they were about hiding rot. The kitchen is a frantic, smoky chaos. Giant pots bubble over open flames. Heat blasts your face, but the moment you step out of the kitchen, the cold swallows you again. Meat hangs from hooks, dripping fat. Rats lurk nearby, bold and hungry. You take a sip of ale, but it's weak, intentionally. Alcohol was safer than water, but rarely strong. Wine? Sour. Milk? Risky. Water? A gamble you'd usually lose. And if you think eating was hard, imagine being the one who had to serve all this, while barely surviving themselves. Look around the castle and you'll notice something. No one here is relaxing. This place works only because dozens of servants labor non-stop, often from before sunrise to long after dark. Their lives are a blur of hauling water, chopping wood, tending fires, cleaning chambers, cooking meals, scrubbing floors, managing horses, repairing weapons, and doing every task the noble family never sees. Servants don't have rooms. They have spaces, cramped corners, hallways, storage areas, sometimes the foot of their master's bed. Privacy? Forget it. Sleep? When they can grab it. Respect? Only if they never make mistakes. Their work is constant danger. The kitchen burns people. The stables kick people. The workshop maims people. Injuries mean lost wages, and lost wages mean starvation. Being a servant isn't employment, it's survival. Yet these are the people who keep the fires burning so the nobles don't freeze. They fetch water to wash clothes that will never truly be clean. They empty chamber pots so the castle doesn't drown in its own waste. And speaking of waste, you're about to discover where it all actually goes. You head to the garderobe, the castle's medieval toilet, expecting not comfort, but at least dignity. What you find is a hole in a stone ledge, open to a vertical shaft that plunges into darkness. You sit there, exposed to the wind, the smell, and the terrifying possibility of falling in. The cold air rises from below like the breath of a beast. The waste drops into a pit or directly into the moat. In summer, the stench is overwhelming. In winter, it freezes into horrifying ice columns. Either way, some unlucky servants must eventually climb down and remove the buildup by hand. Yes, by hand. The smell drifts throughout the castle, clinging to clothing, food, even the smoke from the hearth. You start to understand why intestinal diseases killed so many people. When waste disposal means gravity and prayer, hygiene becomes a luxury no one has. And yet, as disgusting as this is, it gets worse. Because the moment a siege begins, the toilets become the least of your problems. You wake to shouting. The enemy has arrived. Gates slam shut. The drawbridge lifts. And suddenly, your stone fortress becomes a stone cage. The food stores that seemed plentiful yesterday now look alarmingly small. Fresh water depends on a single well. Waste piles up. Fear spreads faster than disease, and disease spreads fast. The air grows foul as people, trapped together, cough, sweat, panic, and pray. The courtyard becomes a battlefield of its own. Wounded soldiers, frantic servants, terrified families. Arrows whistle against the walls. Stones crash. The entire structure trembles. The smell of fear mixes with smoke and filth. Rations shrink. People break. After weeks or months, desperation turns the castle into a nightmare. Historical accounts describe starvation, disease outbreaks, even cannibalism in the most extreme cases. When the siege finally lifts, if you survive that long, you won't walk out proud and victorious. You'll crawl out exhausted and sick. And even when peace returns, the castle remains what it always was, a place where privacy doesn't exist. You try to find a quiet moment, just one. But everywhere you go, someone is already there. Servants walk through noble bedrooms. Guards march past open doorways. Visitors sleep in the hall. Children play loudly. Dogs bark. Chickens squawk. The entire castle feels like a train station where you can never leave, and everyone watches you. Even the lord and lady lived in constant observation. Dressing, sleeping, eating, all done with others present. Curtains offered privacy, but only visually. Every conversation carried through stone halls like echoes in a cave. Every argument became public. Every embarrassing sound had an audience. Your body never truly relaxes. Your mind never finds silence. And at night, the castle becomes even more unsettling because the darkness brings its own terrors. You inhale deeply and instantly regret it. A medieval castle is a cocktail of aromas you can't escape. Smoke from the hearth, rancid fat from old torches, mold blooming in damp corners, animal waste, human waste, wet wool that never dries, rotten fish in barrels, stagnant moat water that smells like a swamp on a bad day. Even perfumes and herbs can't mask it. They just add another layer to the sensory assault. Visitors wrote about unbearable stenches drifting through halls. Chronic sinus infections were common. People genuinely believed the air itself could make you sick. And honestly, they weren't wrong. Every step brings a new assault on your senses. One wrong breeze, and you're hit with a gust straight from the latrine pit. You suddenly understand why people burned incense non-stop, and why nighttime, with its cooler air and flickering shadows, felt like both a relief and a new source of dread. Because when darkness falls, the castle changes. Night falls fast inside a castle. The corridors darken until you can barely see your own hands. Torches sputter, candles flicker, shadows stretch into monstrous shapes. Every sound, a rat scurrying, a guard's footsteps, a distant moan, becomes amplified in the stone hallways. The temperature plummets. Breath turns to mist. Sleep becomes a battle between cold and fear. Guards pace nervously, listening for signs of intruders or fire. The greatest terror of any castle. A single spark could burn the entire wooden interior. Stories of ghosts, demons, and restless spirits swirl among servants and soldiers. In a place this dark, this cold, this full of suffering, it's easy to believe the walls themselves remember. You lie awake, shivering, staring into the blackness, counting the minutes until dawn. because only daylight reveals the truth. The castle wasn't designed for comfort. It was designed for survival, and barely that. And yet, we still romanticize them. You walk outside at sunrise, exhausted, itchy, hungry, and relieved to escape the stone labyrinth. And yet, when you step back and view the castle from a distance, it looks majestic, powerful, beautiful even. That's the trick. From the outside, castles inspire awe. Inside, they inspire survival instincts. Modern tourism shows us sanitized ruins, cleaned, deodorized, restored, quiet. No stench, no parasites, no smoke, no freezing drafts, just stone walls warmed by the sun and centuries of imagination. We romanticize castles because we don't feel what they felt like. We see the power without the pain, the architecture without the misery, the medieval dream without the daily nightmare. But now you know the truth. Life inside a castle wasn't glamorous. It wasn't magical. It wasn't even comfortable. It was cold, filthy, cramped, vulnerable, and endlessly exhausting. And if you think this was bad, wait until you learn what life was like in a medieval city.